So today we were continuing these talks on the Great Highway, and we started. Maybe this is the third one, but we are going very slowly, so nobody really missed anything if you have not been here, because everything it's like goes in a spiral, you know. There's movement forward, but also, it rewinds what we already said. Forgive my accent, I'm Spanish. But I wanted you to know, when I go to Spain, say, are you American? And then when I'm here, I say, you're French? Or, and it's like, okay, I'm nowhere. So that's where we are, right? This is our true place. Nowhere, no place. Yeah, that's the true place, no place. So, yeah. It's good. Well, this is gonna start strongly, but then it's gonna soften up. So I started the preparation for this talk saying that in the Great Hard Way, we talk about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. But we say it in a very simple way. The unconscious way being that aspect or processes of our mind that we are not aware of. Subconscious mind, processes of the mind that we are partially aware of. And the conscious mind, we describe it as those processes of our mind that we are aware of. And then I have Roshi and I share this talk, and he's gonna do the readings that accompany this talk. Yeah, the first one.
This is a quote from Aldous Huxley. He says, "The great error of modern psychology has been to speak of the unconscious as though it were some kind of unknowable. But insofar as the unconscious is the body, the unconscious can be known. And insofar as it is a timeless principle, the unconscious can be fully realized in an act of unitive knowledge."
That's a super beautiful quote that is actually very condensed. Let me break it out a little bit, Roshi. All these people that we quote, besides being psychotherapists or psychiatrists or psychologists, they are also practitioners. And he's saying, Aldous Huxley, English writer, I think, philosopher, he's saying that, that the unconscious is the body. It's no place else but our own body. And I was telling some of you in our meeting this morning that when we start a practice like Zazen, we are starting a practice of those aspects of our mind that we have not been conscious of before. So it's a journey in the depth of our mind. And because Zazen is a practice of awareness, when we do this practice, we are actually bringing light into those aspects of our mind that we had not been aware, only because they have not been lit and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, only because they have not been lit. And there is nothing wrong or something you have to be afraid. It's just that because it lacks of light until that moment, we might have develop some fear, preconceived fear about it. But there is nothing to be afraid. It's more of our mind. That saying that we only know the tip, a very small portion of our mind, that we function at a very small portion of our mind, and that's what it refers to, because we are only, working mostly at a mental level, and then Zazen brings us into a journey into the depth of the mind. So it's in other ways we're bringing light into what was unconscious before. And like Carl Jung said, that I'm so grateful for him, for his life, for his existence, for all his contributions to humanity, that meditation seems to be the royal road to the unconscious mind. And that I think that, it has been our experience, we can say. And I'm so happy that somebody like Carl Jung, could confirm that at a much wider level, to much wider audience. Let's see what else I have here.
Unitive.
Oh yeah, the unit. I was going to another. Yeah, that. But insofar as the unconscious is the body, so Zen is a practice into the unconscious that is the body, because we go here in our heart where I have my cat. It's a timeless principle, and it can be finally realized in an act of unitive knowledge. Wow. Yeah, I know I should not be asking questions, but then you don't want to be in the recording. But anyway, so doesn't that remind you of samadhi? Isn't that unitive knowledge? You took my book? Oh no, that's your book. Does the body unify our mind, body, heart, emotions, feelings, everything unified? That's samadhi. That's what we call samadhi. Isn't samadhi the most wonderful experience we have ever had? Yes. And then important thing here too is that because the unconscious is the body, and it can be known through meditation and a steady practice and guidance. It's important. Guidance is important. We also have to understand that feelings and emotions are the way that our unconscious mind communicate with us through our feelings and emotions.
Okay, there's another few more quotes from Alexander Lowen. Says, "To go through life with a closed heart is like taking an ocean voyage locked in the hold of a ship." And Pope John Paul II said, "The worst prison would be a closed heart."
And I just wanna mention that nothing opens our heart more than our ability to feel our feelings and emotions. because it's the heart is the center of feeling, and like in Zen, even when we talk about the mind, we are always referring as the mind, the heart mind, and the heart mind communicates through feelings and emotions. And when I was studying Vajrayana Buddhism, also in Vajrayana Buddhism, they talk about that feelings and emotions also emanating from our true self. Our true self also communicates through feelings and emotions in Vajrayana Buddhism. Excuse me, Kato. Because of the unconscious processes of the mind can be difficult to access and may seem dark and intangible, we carry them as a shadow. That's why we are entering into the shadow part. This shadow painfully conditions and limits our lives in a myriad ways. While the unconscious is by nature unknown, it can be brought to the conscious mind through meditation and the development of awareness. So I was alluding to that before, but like this fear we have, many of us might have developed about the unconscious seen as something dark, but it's not. Like I remember, like when my teacher Philip Kaplow talk about the first kensho, the first realization that you have through practice. He said it's like lighting the tip of an incense in a dark cave. So the unconscious can be seen as the dark cave, but then we have the light of the tip of an incense. Oh, we see something, not so scary. And then we get a candle. Then the next experience, we got a candle. And then you get a torch. And then the cave walls are blown away. And it's all goodness. All the way has been only all goodness. So the Great Heart Way is a path aimed at unifying our spiritual development and our personal transformation. So they should be kind of, developed together, personal transformation and spiritual development. Because in the past, like the training that Roshi and I had, and many other people, the practice was aimed only at realization. Then we lack in humanity, in our shared humanity. And last time we shared the words of John Wellwood that said we are not. Do you remember that quote of John Wellwood? We are not only human beings learning to become Buddhas, but also Buddhas learning to be fully human. Yeah, it's very beautiful. So this is what this means. So it has to be both ways, because like happened to me, I just learned to practice and bypass a lot of stuff. Just bypass, and then like, wow, you get a sangha, you have people, you are just don't know how to be flexible, you don't know how to adjust to this person, to that person, to that person. You're stuck with all those parts of yourself that you had not worked on. And for that purpose, because we realize this, we developed the Great Heart Way. That Roshi wanted to name it. You wanted to name it the Great heart Zen way, right?
Great Heart Zen.
Great heart Zen, yeah. So it's Great Heart Zen. But then the publisher takes the decision, but it should be Great Heart Zen. I have a cat in my life. Do you mind passing me a Kleenex?
I'll say when they were thinking of the title of
Thank
the
you.
book, the publisher thought that Great Heart Zen was too limited and that Great Heart Way would be more inclusive. And I learned after they made that decision that lookups on Google that Zen is one of, in the area of Buddhism or spirituality, Zen is the most looked up word. And so the title should have been Great Heart Zen, and then that would actually have found appeal to a broader audience in the Great Heart Way. Yeah, but in any case, we never thought it would be a bestseller, and we were right.
So far.
No, yeah, you have to have the interest to develop awareness and the inclination to be willing to look at yourself and practice Zen and look at yourself and work whatever comes up. And we work with the Great Heart Way. We work also we not only work with koans, with people in Dokusan or whatever they bring. We also work on the Great Heart Way. If people are working on the Great Heart Way. So where I was. So because we all have hidden aspects that affect our lives without our knowledge. Some psychologists, like Jung, call this the shadow. The shadow is like an unconscious trash bag filled with those parts of ourselves that we have rejected. Just like our physical shadow, our unconscious shadow is always with us, whether we see it or not. I'll bring you'll get more light on how you can notice the existence of this shadow and start working on it, because it's only a shadow. The moment it has some light, it's not a shadow anymore. So by bringing awareness to it, it just opens up. It just becomes light. It's just because we have keeping it hidden in the dark, then that's why things might fester. But the moment that we bring light to it, it just becomes light again. Okay, we start feeling this unconscious trash bag at a very early age. As young children bursting with energy when our parents exclaim, "Can you be quiet?" A part of us goes into the bag. To keep our parents' approval, we bag whatever they don't like. At school, when our teachers tell us, "Good children don't behave like that," we bag that too. When others don't like some aspect of our personality, it too may go into the bag, and so on into adulthood. So, I was reflecting in the fact that we grew up in different cultures, and I was thinking, as cultures, we bag some things different than other cultures. So, the things maybe that I bag are different with the things that you bagged growing up in this country. So I thought that was interesting, that according to the culture you are born, you learn to put in the bag different things. All along the way, we learn to reject those bagged aspects of ourselves, even if we don't consciously know what they are. We don't do this purposely, so we do it unconsciously. We change our behavior, but we don't know that we have back up an aspect of ourselves that we enjoyed before, but now, in order to get approval, we have put it in the trash bag of the unconscious. in an attempt to get approval and avoid conflict and disagreements, we keep tossing in parcels into the bag. Unfortunately, every part of ourselves that we dump into the unconscious inevitably inhibit us from living a fulfilling life. Our shadow gives rise to negative projections that condition our perceptions and relationship with ourselves and the rest of the world. Like someone says, there is no other out there independently of what's going on in here. And so one way of noticing our shadow is to notice where we project. And we are going to get more into how you can notice where you project. That the projections come straight from the shadow. We are not seeing reality as it is. We are shadowing reality with whatever we carry that is unknown to us in that trash bag that has become part of the unconscious now. But actually, it's not trash. What we had put in that trash bag is not trash at all. Learning about the experiences of others can help us uncover our own projections. Ultimately, we feel that we are not different from each other. We are not alone in dealing about our inner issues. It's amazing when we humans start sharing, we realize, oh my God, we are all the same. Mm-hmm. Wow, we are made of all the same stuff. We have done the same things. We have trashed the same stuff. There is a connection between our shadow and the energy that we project into the world through our attitudes and actions. Our view of the world and other people depends on the size of the shadow bag we are dragging behind us and what we are carrying in it. And Roshi has a story for you.
This is one of our students shared this. We, as we were writing the book, we had a number of workshops. And
did you miss quote 2?
Is that?
No, that's 3. Quote 2.
Yeah, that was the heart.
Oh, then I missed. I have here the traveling monk.
Oh, is that 2? No.
No.
Okay. Well, I can just tell the story.
It's okay. Yeah, you can tell the story.
Yeah, it's here. Yeah, that's 4 actually.
Oh, I made a
Okay.
mistake.
Yeah, there was a. You probably all know this story. It's a well-known Zen story about a traveling monk who went from temple to temple, carrying a big bag of horse manure over his shoulder. And when he arrived at a new temple, he would set down this bag and exclaim, "This place smells like shit." And then he'd pick up his bag and move on to the next temple and do the same thing. And he was surprised every time.
That's a great story. And then another analogy we could use for the dark side of the personality is a film canister. We keep we keep putting the rejected part of ourselves into the canister. Then the film is unconsciously projected onto the world through our thoughts, which influences again our world and our actions. So it's like a film canister, and the analogy of the film canister is very important because if you find yourself maybe in a restaurant or something where there is a lot of people, I had caught up myself many times, like looking at somebody, and then the film goes onto that person. That person notices, and then you stop doing it. But yeah, I remember that this was a very very common way of spend time in Spain, in those terraces, like the outside patios, and the terraces in the street. And then you sit there, and then you see all these people pass, and the canister can be fully running. Nobody will notice it. Why? You're gonna spend a whole afternoon and evening, Kato, with the canister running, and you see it's all the movie running. So we don't do that much here, but you can find moments that might happen to you, and then you might inquire, wow, this happened. I mean, and analyze it. See what is this about? What part of myself might I have done into the bad? Because as children, we are born with a bunch of gifts, to bring into this world. And if those gifts might not have been in accordance with the teacher or with a parent or with a bully at the school or whatever, we might have tossed one of our gifts into the bad. So it's very important to recover those parts of ourselves that actually are our original gifts, that are related to our true selves, and the gift that we come with, and we can bring into this world. So that's what I have found, that every time that I recover a part of myself, it has been a gift, has been a treasure, to recovering a treasure. For example, a person's anger. Oh, what? I didn't have the part of Ed. We should go to the part of Ed with Alice there. I totally jumped over that. Or I don't know how much time we have. Maybe we will leave that for the next time.
No, we have time. It's only 10:30.
But last time we didn't leave them time for any discussion.
No.
But yeah.
Okay.
Because now the part of Andrea
Okay.
is more important. But maybe just read the part, yeah.
Okay.
If you want, just read that one, because that was the same we were gonna read last time, and we didn't read it.
Okay. Is
So-
that Andrea?
No, if you want to read the other one, yeah, if you want to read that, or if you want have someone to read it, so it's more interactive or whatever.
Okay. Who'd like to read?
All right.
Okay.
What am I reading?
St. John's Shadow, and it goes over to there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Just starting there.
Do you mind staying over there? The microphone is on that stick right there.
Oh, we got it.
Sure. Here, I can pull this out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let me change you real quick.
Okay. That's what's recording. Okay. St. John's Shadow. At first, I observed my usual way of relating to the world. There was a constant background noise of thoughts and feelings of irritation, criticism, and anger towards others, and a basically aggressive way of dealing with my surroundings. Over the years, I had become increasingly aware of this pattern, increasingly uncomfortable with it, hence my interest in the practice. I recognized these feelings of irritation, criticalness, and anger toward others as projections from my shadow. Then I let them be. I experienced them deeply, especially the uncomfortable body sensations, which became increasingly familiar to me as the practice went on. I was able to maintain this awareness in most of my everyday interactions, not just in meditation. Staying present with my uncomfortable bodily sensations, I was able to access what was hidden beneath them. Some old beliefs began to surface like a bubble coming up in the mud of a swamp. All my life, I believed I would fail, always. The angry, irritated thoughts were like protective armor, because not only did I believe I would fail, I was afraid to fail. To protect myself from failing, I always had to be right. My goal was to attain perfection. Then a memory burst into my awareness. I'm about 5 years old and in my parents' house. My parents had decided I'd have a room all to myself, away from my sister. In the memory, I'm playing up on the 3rd floor in this room that is now mine. I'm alone, twirling a vacuum cleaner hose around my head, faster and faster. All of a sudden, the metal end flies off the hose and strikes the wall, making a gaping round hole near the foot of my bed. I don't know why, but I am mortified by this accident. Here, in the solitude of my very first own room, I've made a grievous mistake. I've soiled a secret paradise. I'm afraid that I'll be condemned by my parents and lose my new room. I told myself that no one must ever find out what I've done. The hole itself leads to a blackness behind the wall where I cannot see and which seems quite mysterious. I'm at a loss as to what to do, and I'm getting desperate because sooner or later someone will come up and discover what I've done. I have a small but fancy little picture that my parents bought for me. It shows a medieval-looking man in robes, appearing quite pious, and at the bottom of the picture, the title, Saint John. I go to a Catholic school and know that saints are perfect people. So I hanged St. John over the offending hole. No one but me knows that my secret hides behind it. And that's the way it's been all these years. As long as I can remember, I've been protecting myself so nobody finds out about my imperfections.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then we have another example about the film canister with the, I think I was pretty much done with everything I was going to say. And then we have one last reading. Just to end what I was saying, and then Roshi can finish the last reading. A person's anger could be rolled up inside the canister and then brought out unexpectedly and projected onto the face of another one for no reason, apparently. But because it's unconscious and we are not aware of it, the face of that person might be related to the face of another person that we just have forgotten about. And these things can happen. These projections dissipate our energy and obscure our clarity. How do you notice the existence of our shadow? By noticing who we project onto, who irrationally we hate. The more we put, it says irrationally. Yeah, some of you got it. I know you got it. The more we put into our canister, the less energy we have for creative and spiritual purposes. So Roshi's gonna finish with the last anecdote.
Yeah, consider this example. Andrea lives in a small town in Minnesota, and another woman, Roberta, just moved into her apartment building, and Andrea thinks that Roberta is too sexy, wears the too sexy of clothes, and she finds herself obsessing about Roberta. This is a clue from her subconscious mind that she has suppressed her own sexual feelings. These denied feelings are being projected onto Roberta, so we must notice precisely whom we dislike or get obsessed with. We sometimes even get entangled with virtual strangers when we're particularly sensitive to a quality in them that we've rejected in ourselves.
Thank you. This finishes our talk for today. Now the floor is open for any comments or questions.